Hi guys, welcome to Thriving Nuggets YouTube channel, where we share nuggets on how to thrive in your law career, in your law school life, in your personal development, and generally also in your career life, even if you're not a lawyer. Karibuni sana. This is the second video since I came back on YouTube, and the first substantive video that doesn't have "I'm back, here's where I've been" but really a really concrete video. And in my last video I actually mentioned that I'm going to be sharing about taking the Certified Secretaries course offered by KASNEB, and really because I have been getting a lot of questions even before I went on a break, and then also subsequently after it sort of felt like a lot of the questions I was getting, even from people who are close to me, was a lot about, okay, you did the CS course, what do you think? Should I go to class? Should I not go to class? Should I take it, or should I opt for another professional course, or should I, and all those questions. And I thought that having a video that I can reference people to whenever they ask this question would be a very fantastic idea. But also I'm curious, after this video, the kind of questions that will come up in the comment section, because that will sort of give me an idea if there's anything I missed, and if there's anything I missed, I may do a subsequent Q&A video. So feel free to ask any questions about CS course, but really generally professional courses as a lawyer and the thinking around that. And of course I have my notes so that I don't ramble a lot as I am going on with the video. Start off with my own personal story. When I finished my form 4, there's this period where you're not yet in campus, because you finish around November there, and you don't go to school until the following year, May or September. So for me it was September. So that whole period was there's always this thing of you need to get something to be doing in the meantime. People go for computer classes, for driving classes. So me, I went for computer packages, but that takes a very short time, I think maybe a month or so. And so I had a cousin who had done CPA, and I didn't have facts or anything, but I had that having a CPA course is amazing. It adds you advantage in the job market and all those things. And so I went and did it, regardless of the fact that I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. But I was okay, let me do CPA. And I actually did CPA section 1 and actually did the exam. I'm saying a lot of actuallys. But I did the exam in May of 2015. But when I got into law school, there was a lot of conversation of, if you are a lawyer, then you need to be taking CS and not CPA, which is a myth, and I'm going to get a bit more into that, and you should do CS. So I went to KASNEB, switched, and I remember even the guy there was convincing me to just finish CPA, and then I'll get a lot of exemptions, so I'll have both CPA and CS as I complete. But I was no, I'm not doing that. Let me do CS because I'm a lawyer and I want to do CS. And that's how I started off. And even thinking through that, I'm going to be sharing my personal journey as we go, as I share through the tips and all that. So I'm not going to put a whole full-on story from begin to end. But thinking about the thought process that came into doing this course, it was a lot of people saying, yeah, you should do that, it's great for you, it's great for the job market. And I would really want to challenge you, if you're considering to do the Certified Secretaries course or any professional course. You may be a lawyer or you're not a lawyer. I think one of the key things that I have come to learn and appreciate is to think about the end goal first. And a lot of people who have come to me, I've asked them, so what's your end goal? Where do you want to land in your career? So you want to end in-house. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for you to be doing CS. But perhaps you want to venture out of the law. You want to use, yes, your law degree, but you want to venture into finance and all those things. Perhaps CPA or ACCA may be a great course for you. Perhaps you want to get into data protection, and all those things. Perhaps doing a lot of professional courses in data protection will be more beneficial than doing a CS course. Just to say you have a CS course. I think knowing the end goal helps you determine what will get me there. So I want to work in this corporate. I want to be a CEO. So what steps would I need to take? And there are many ways to figure that out, and I think I'm going to perhaps do like a whole video on that, because today is a CS video, but there's different ways and methods you can use to figure out what you need along the way. There are different resources you can use, there are different platforms you can go and check, so that you know like, how do I get there, what is required in between, and we'll get into that. But I think for CS, and I really like even took it out from the KASNEB website, and the KASNEB website is your friend. Go to the KASNEB website, there's a lot of information there, and there's also a lot of information when it comes to even going there physically to ask. But I'm going to share what I think is like the most important. Number one, the CS course is tailor-made for people who want to be corporate secretaries, policy formulators and consultants in governance, governance and compliance auditors, and administrators at national and county and national levels in the private sector. Because when you look at even the modules that are there from corporate governance, so for instance, if you want to become like this, corporate governance babe or auditor, doing audits, governance audits and compliance audits, you want to be a certified secretary, an in-house counsel, it makes a sense for you to do the certified secretaries course. So that's why I would really implore you to think about the why. Here's the thing, and I'm not saying that I really regret, because right now I'm not in-house. I'm not like in a law firm where I'm sort of like, maybe there may be certified secretarial work happening, but I do not regret having done it, because it did a lot of things for me. Number one, it really made me very disciplined when I was in campus, because I had that in addition to my law degree. So I did it while I was in undergrad and a little bit after KSL, because there's a unit I had not finished, but a lot of it I did when I was in undergraduate, and it gave me a lot of discipline. Number two, it gave me access to certain rooms and interviews. I remember going for interviews in like top tier law firms, and one of the things that really excited them is, you've done the CS course, and I was really advanced. Even by that time, I was almost like towards the end, and it gave me, and I actually think even in my pupillage, one of the plus things that actually made me get that pupillage opportunity was because I had taken the certified secretaries course, and there was not a lot, but quite a bit of corporate secretarial work that was happening there. And immediately was like, oh, you said you did corporate secretarial, then do this kind of work. So it really helped me in one way or another. Whether or not I'll use it in the future is really debatable, based on how I think my career would look like in the non-profit sector. But really, it was beneficial. But for right now, especially if you've already been admitted to the bar, thinking through, is this worth my time? Is this worth my money? And where do I see the return coming in? And it doesn't mean after you've done all that analysis, then you will make the best decision, and there's no like wrong or right actually decision, but really it will help you see where to put your money and where to put your efforts in. And that's what I will say. So don't go with the whim of like everyone is doing it. Think whether this aligns with what your career goals are and what is required for you to achieve those career goals that you have. CS course, formerly known as CPS, so it's Certified Secretaries now, has different levels. Previously it was like section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right now there's foundational, intermediate and advanced level, and it will take average of a year to finish, but it's normally encouraged to have like an additional year where you can meet your requirements for internship or practical experience, which is something they have brought out. It wasn't there previously, but right now, like for instance, for CS, there's a research project that you can take, or an internship project that you can take. So that's like an additional thing that didn't exist before. So one of the biggest questions I've gotten was, should I go to class or should I study on my own? Here's the thing, and just to explain the whole spectrum of KASNEB. So KASNEB, you just pay to do the professional exam. They don't teach you, they don't give you materials to do that. I think you can get access, once you get access to the portal and there's an app, you can get access to previous past papers or reading lists or all that, but they are not like, you don't pay the exam fees and they teach you the content. So there are colleges that teach this, especially those colleges that normally do certificate diploma courses. There are colleges that actually teach people like private tuition, and then now you pay your exam to KASNEB, then you'll do the main exam. And the main exam looks like the way you would have NEC, like Form 4 exams. So it's standardized across, you have exam center. It's actually the same like structure and all that. So the way you would have go to a certain high school, you're taught there, but NEC is the one who will bring the main exam. That looks like that. So what I would say is that CS has a lot of theoretical topics. And I think that if you can get access to the notes and to the previous past papers, and that you are disciplined to set time every day, especially if you're working every day to study for that, it's doable. Then for the units that have like a lot of mathematical things like finance for decision making, accounting, if that's not your strong suit, then I would advise go to class. Otherwise, you'll waste your money, you will do the exam, you'll repeat. And I made that mistake with financial management. I had paid for class, but because I was in school, I was doing a lot of moot court. I was like in a radius, I was doing a lot then that meant like that's one of the things that fell through the cracks. And so I learned the hard way, and I actually like paid for class, and I think I was doing a fellowship in a previous like employer. So I was doing a fellowship there, and I remember I had every morning I used to wake up and be in a 6 a.m. class so as to keep up and to make sure that I'm not missing those like, mathematical units and all that. So that's what I would say. But if you feel like you cannot be disciplined on your own, honestly, and you have the money to actually pay for class, go for class, because that will give you discipline, because you'll have like an hour or an hour and a half every day where you're going through the unit, where you're going through the notes, and you will have like where you're writing notes, where you're getting the concepts, and so you'll have less time for doing your revision and all that. So that's what I would advise. And that brings the other question of like, where should I go? Where should I, think through going? The first one I would say is Star College. I recently like sent a former, we used to be in Kenya School of Law together, and even campus, and I remember she gave me like feedback. She went to Star College. I had referred her to Star College, but they don't have morning classes. So like when I was in Summit Institute of Professionals, it's just next to Nairobi Sports House along Moi Avenue, Nairobi, Kenya. For my international audience, I'm referring to like the Kenyan landscape, of course. And so they used to have like morning classes where you go there at 6 a.m. by 7:30, 7:45 you're done. So you do morning classes Monday all through to Saturday. There were days where you have classes and days you don't have other classes, because I was doing like one unit, not all the units. So there is that morning, like the morning classes. Then there were evening classes. I think now they have evening classes like Star College, where you go like 5:30 to 7:30 every day, and then on Saturday you go for like half day or the full day. So that's like for evening. And then for Summit, they even had late evening starting from like 7:40 in case you leave work later than that, and 5:30 is not a great time for you to be going for an evening class. So there's so many options that exist really. So for Star College, but Summit Institute of Professionals, according to her, but you can go check, but I believe like this is accurate information. According to her, they no longer offer Certified Secretaries course, so that's something to know. Another place is KCA University. It's pricier, definitely pricier than these other colleges. It's pricier, but they do offer quality education. I have a relative who actually does like the professional courses in KCA, and it looks pretty great, even in terms of the notes they are given, materials they are given, and it's a great place, but it's costly as opposed to going to these other colleges. There's also Vision Institute of Professionals. I had people who used to complain about that. Certified Secretaries also had it at the East African School of Management, but I don't know if they still have it. ESM is like along Moi Avenue. So there's one that I'm going to go in depth even in terms of the cost. So I remember then like to pay for a whole section, so section 1, which would comprise of 3 units, was like around 20k, but if you wanted like per unit to go to like 7,500. But I got like a latest like fee structure from the college that now my colleague who we used to be in KSL together, the one I was talking about, went, which is Traction School of Governance and Business. it's in collaboration with the Law Society of Kenya, the Nairobi branch. So I'm going to just pick my phone and just go through like the costs implications that are there, to just give like a rough estimate of how much you may have to spend. So let me check. And so for this one, what they charge is like for CS foundational level, which takes like 3 months, they are charging 38,000 tuition fee. If you do it online, so they have an online option, it's 34,000. If you want to pay per unit, maybe you're seeing this as theoretical, I just need like to study for 1 or 2. Now my phone is now off. Okay. It's 7,500 per unit. For intermediate, 40,000. Tuition fee is physical, online 36,000. CS advanced level 42,000. Physical, online 38,000. And then per paper for intermediate is 8,000. Per paper for advanced is 9,000. And then one thing to note is exemptions, especially if you have like an LLB degree. I'm not going to go through it, but I'm going to link down a folder where I'm going to upload all this material, and it lists like exemptions that you get if you're an LLB graduate, you're fresh, you don't have any postgraduate diploma. Then advocates below 5 years experience, what you're exempted. Advocates above 5 years experience but below 10 years experience, and advocates above 10 years experience. A thing to note though, when you are exempted, I didn't get any exemptions because I did it while I was in law school, but when you are exempted, it doesn't mean you don't pay for that paper. You will pay for that paper as if you sat for that paper. The thing is, you won't sit for the paper itself. So there are amounts there. So that's fees that you pay if you're going like the tuition route, where you're like learning or studying in a particular like institution or a college. Now, if you choose to particular college, so if you choose to do that, but there are fees, exam fees that you have to pay if you need to book an exam. If you are booking an exam, which we'll definitely do, book an exam through KASNEB. And so the costs, like for foundational level, you'll pay 1,400 per paper, and foundation has like 6 papers, so it'd be like 8,400, which is like it's very high. Like we used to pay per section, we used to pay like 2,700 for the whole section. Wow, inflation. Intermediate 2,400 per paper, advanced 3,600 per paper. And count per level, like when I say intermediate 2,400 per paper, the level may have like 5 or 6 units, so it's 2,400 times 6 for that level. Then for research project, you pay 10,000. I don't know, have any experience when it comes to like the research project and what is required, but yeah, basically I really do not know. We never used to have research project, but you have to pay for 10,000. Then those are exams fees, but because you're coming in as a new student in KASNEB and you're registering, their registration fees in addition to all those fees of 7,500. And then there's an annual renewal fee. You don't pay it on the word go, I think. Then the following year, like if you registered in May this year, next year May, if you've not yet finished, then you have a renewal fee of 2,000. If you're a student and then you left and you have not been active for I don't know the period of time, there's a registration reactivation fee of 4,000. So normally pay through banks. You'll see all those details in the website, in the KASNEB website, and even in the flyer for the Traction School of Business that I'm going to link in a folder below. You can pay through the bank details, and then they used to have an app. I don't know if it's still active. You can find out, but I will advise you for the very first time when you're trying to register and all that, I'll really advise you just pay a visit to the KASNEB Towers in Upper Hill. Get any information that you need just for the first time, and then later on you really need to be there, other than when you're picking your certificates, which I have never picked, and I need to go and pick my certificates. But yeah, really, basically that's the long short of it. Actually, I thought it would be like a proper long video, but I think those are the key things to think about. And I think I'm going to go into details when it comes to career paths in the law profession, because one beauty about the law profession is that there are a lot of career paths that are there as a law students, not as a law graduate, as an advocate, and different paths requires different things. Some will require the CS, some will not require that. And that's one of the areas that I'm really looking to explore and talk about more this year, maybe towards Q3 or something. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get into in-depth of the career options. And if I'm able actually to get people in certain parts, because I'm not in all parts, so I could know a few things here and there, but not totally in-depth, as opposed to someone who's experiencing it, who's living that reality. So that's something I'm really looking forward to do. But in case you have any further questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. You can always DM me on jerogeann.ke, or send me an email. I'm putting the email address here. I'm not sure if I have my info email by now, so I'm putting the info email here. And yeah, feel free to actually share and go ahead and and share any questions that you have. My mind went blank for a moment, but share any questions that you have. And if I get like a substantive amount of questions that are not what I actually recorded or shared today, then I may do like a Q&A video about that. But even if you have like specific questions about professional courses and what the do's and the don'ts, happy to answer that. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you have learned something and that it was beneficial. May you have a great day, evening, morning, weekend, weekday, depending on when you're seeing this. So yeah, see you on the next one. Bye bye.